Alright, hello. This is Alexander Wales. What are we doing today? We are doing the Worth the Candle Exclusions document, stream number 33, which means that there's somewhere between 33 hours and I guess the upper bound would be 66 hours. You could probably find by just like summing total stream time. But yeah, it's a lot of time to spend on a thing. Today is Mirror Magic and Feng Shui. I did a lot of reading on Feng Shui, so there's like some pull quotes from Wikipedia and stuff. We'll get to that if I do that one today. I'm not committed to. Mirror Magic. I was trying to get this done before stream, and then I was doing the Dactyl and. Oh, I don't want that. Plane of Mirrors is not even mentioned in here. Okay, I'm gonna assume that there's no mention of Plane of Mirrors. The mirror realm, mirror plane. There are lots of ways I could have phrased it. I don't think there's a reference in here. There's one reference in the world building document. Hello, Matto. Yeah, we're just gonna try to get this done a little bit faster. And definitely should have done this as well. Mirror Magic would not be on here. Mirror Magic would not be a noted exclusion zone. Let me just Control F mirror. Yeah, okay. I think it's mentioned in the in this doc and nowhere else. Ideally, we'd have a palindrome here. This will be the Z-Easy. Whoops. Not that. It can be either the Z-Easy or the Z-E-Easy. We'll do Z-E-Easy. I like to believe that the need a better palindrome than this. I do love palindromes. We're gonna call this major. Well, no, this. So the description here is what I'm constrained by, which is fine. This is fine. I guess this just says when Mirror Magic was excluded, all forms of access to the Plane of Mirrors went with it. I think you would not do a partial exclusion to Star Magic. You would just have it be different. Like how accessible it is to Star Magic is an open question. And yes, this would require, I think... I mean, Star Magic doesn't really function that way. Or is not supposed to function that way. We'll have this be relatively recent. I'm not set on this for nature. This is one of those ones I was thinking about last night, and I wasn't feeling 100% on it. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I'm gonna show it just briefly. This was the third edition manual of planes. One of my favorite splat books. I think there's gonna be a note from Juniper about this splat book, but there are. They get to this section, this appendix variant planes, which I loved so much. And there's not very much. The plane of mirrors is like 3/4 of a page here, and like another page here. There's not very much for and like half this page is just the mirror walking spell. I remember this being much longer, maybe because I've done plane of mirrors in campaigns before, I think twice before, and I just like added my own stuff, and I just was like thought that it was all in here. And I don't know. I don't know where I got that it's blue. I think I might have made that up. Because I swear that, like, maybe it's in here. But yeah, that I had been reading that, and I had not read that in like a decade, and I was surprised how short it was, and that there were no pictures. I remember there being pictures, but clearly there are not pictures in it. And obviously mirrors have like being able to travel through mirrors, common thing. It was in Pact, but I read Worm. And then I have not made it more than a few arcs into the Wildbow's other stuff. Mostly just because it's so long and I don't have time. But I did read a couple arcs of Pact, a couple arcs of Twig, a couple, or like quite a bit of Ward. But there's a mirror thing in Pact is the upshot of that, and I don't know how it's resolved or more of the details on it because I never got that far. And yeah, I was thinking last night again about the through the looking glass thing because that is one of the most prominent uses of mirrors. I have read Witches Abroad. Is that in there too? I haven't read it for like 20 years, but. It would not surprise me if Pratchett did something about like mirror travel or something like that. But Lewis Carroll holds a special place within Worth the Candle. So I was thinking about. Okay, now that you say that, it makes more sense. Or I remember it a little bit better, but yeah, the Infinity Hallways. I stayed at a lake house for a family reunion I went to like a month and a half ago, and the room I stayed in had a little hallway leading. It was like very oddly laid out, but it had a hallway leading to the bathroom where the closets were. And so you'd walk through this row of closets, and the doors on them were mirrored. So you had this like long infinity hallway. My son loved it so much, but we played around with that a lot. And I was thinking about this exclusion zone while we did that, but I don't think that plays into it. Mostly because this is like already here. Um, Contingent is probably not right. Congruent? Providing a copy of its environments and yeah, the Plains book doesn't really go into. I mean, that's what's already here. I'm trying not to have to rewrite the world building document, um, but I don't think that's going to be necessary for this one. Um, Sorry about that. Just closing my door because my cats are being annoying. We're going to say that vampires are not practitioners, but have some kind of interaction. I don't know if that's going in, but we will. If you have all this mirror magic stuff set up, then you can explain other things through the plane of mirrors. Controlled, no. Controlled in the sense that they are the same person up to the point of divergence. Okay, have not read Homestuck. uh, We're going for, it's sort of like a lucid dreaming thing. So like you just don't notice the weird stuff. Or that's what I'm going for in my um, conceptualization. Okay, well, they say that given enough time, you'll just eventually reinvent Homestuck, so. But now I read like one page of Homestuck, and I was like, this seems really long. And I know I write really long stuff, and that's like almost kind of hypocrisy, but I was like, oh, a million words. Can't this be a short story? um, there's some people for whom they're like, oh, anything below 200,000 words, I'm not going to read. Because I'm going to spend all that time getting invested, and then I'll get invested like right when it ends. Um, do you only get one mirror self, even if you're in front of multiple mirrors? No. I think that's the direction this exclusion is going. I need to look at this. There's already, oh, how's this 3 paragraphs already? Oh boy. Okay, let me do a word count here and see. So this is 400 words. So in theory, this could be done in like another 100 words and be finished with it. Um, Under normal circumstances, things just teleport. So imagine that you are in a room with a single mirror, and you're standing in front of that mirror, and your mirror self is on the other side of it, and you put a blanket over the mirror. Suddenly, you are no longer reflected. The mirror self is still there in the plane of mirrors. And in theory is going to be doing all the same stuff that you do. And let's say that there's a discontinuity for whatever reason. As soon as you uncover that mirror again, the mirror self is going to snap back to where they were. And the workaround for that, to get them not to snap back and to have the mirror uncovered, is for you to like have a cloak of invisibility or whatever, so that nothing is of you is reflected in the mirror. They don't snap back, and then they just can crawl out because they're co-located with you. That's my brief pitch for how this works. The amount that I'm willing to flesh out any of these magic systems is somewhat limited, because they're like 500 word snippets. Like the amount of I want to put in the amount of work that you can imagine this story taking place. One of the things I really, really like about the Manual of Planes is just how, like, because those entries are short. This entry is going to be longer than the entry for the Plane of Mirrors, or whatever it is. 3E? E? Okay. I do want to note from Juniper, because that is like my favorite of the Splat books. We should probably mention Splat books. Not A, we do the. Men and women is very human-centric, but I'm going to be okay with that. If a creature is made of mirrors, then it's just constantly synced, I guess. It never has an opportunity to disconnect. Does water count? I was thinking about that, and I think the answer is yes if it's undisturbed enough. Um, but like possibly only a large enough reflection counts. It's one of those things because like reflections are everywhere, right? There's like reflections that come from the like aqueous solution on your eyeball. I think there's a threshold degree of size, and I think there's a threshold degree of fidelity and distortion. I don't think the mirror cells are distorted. It should be an exact copy of the material plane, except everything is reversed. Uh, if I can work chirality into this somewhere, I might, but the idea is that there's just a whole other copy of the material world, and it's in sync in those places that are reflected, and it gets out of sync, and there's like stuff growing in the unreflected areas and stuff like that. But if you brought a mirror in and it was like a discongruent mirror, I think it just wouldn't work. That how it works in manual planes is that a mirror that you bring in just doesn't work. It just doesn't like do anything. Um, um, oh, I was just trying to figure out what that sentence sounds like. Reflective enough to have an effect. I think it's the reflect and effect so close to each other. Reads weird to me. I'm gonna leave it for now. It's the kind of stuff that should get caught in editing, and if it doesn't, it's not a huge deal. Um, that could work. I mean, you could have mirror mage, star mage, where they wouldn't run into that problem, but I like the idea that there's so many different types of magical spying that, like for funnel magic, you need to have you need to have everything be unique. Can't bring anything additional in. For mirror magic, you can't have any reflections in the room. I like the idea that there's like a list of 7 different things that you need to do, and also you need wards Like if you want to do a clandestine meeting, you need to like you can't publish a book twice. Like there's just an incredibly long list of proper policy and procedure at the height of the Second Empire, just to like try to lock everything down. And if you're an information security specialist, you need to like be at the forefront of all of those things. Yeah, you're not allowed to dream. There, like the list of things that you need to do without wards. If for whatever reason you don't want to use wards, if you don't have a warder you trust, would be probably the big one, because a warder can just poke a hole. Like a warder can just um, insert a backdoor into your wards. So you need to like really trust them. You need to do identity verification in case of like doppelgangers and stuff. I kind of want to write a fantasy kitchen sink spy novel at some point. I should probably write a normal spy novel first and then do a fantasy spy novel. So I'm not trying to learn a genre at the same time. I'm trying to change a bunch of things about the genre, but that's never stopped me before, so whatever. Um, I think it makes sense as an Eutherian exclusion. I think it. I'm trying to think of why I didn't do that, but like this is the entire thing that is in the world building doc, just copied right here. I don't think there's anything about it being an Eutherian exclusion, but if there is, I will need to edit this, but that would probably still be fine. I don't think that this has been written with like from a Second Empire perspective. I just rolled for gender. It's male. Um, Second Empire collapsed in 324. Well, no one changed those laws. It's just that the Second Empire collapsed and no one could enforce them in the same way. If you don't have an empire, then you can very easily get a race to the bottom where you've got, like 300 polities that are competing against each other to be the place where things happen. And so instead of there being a collective push to have limit research for the good of everyone, you have maybe a handful of polities that are trying to be welcoming to that kind of thing because they know that they can possibly make money on it. Same kind of thing in the United States. Where it's 50 states, and then they end up competing with each other, and in some respects they have a race to the bottom. That's always in the United States, it's always the argument for any particular state against raising taxes is because you say, oh, well, the business can just you just go to the next state over. Like there's so many corporations that are established in Delaware because Delaware has the loosest or most permissive state tax laws, and I think a few other benefits. So, it's that kind of thing where it breaks apart the this collective nature of it sort of breaks apart, and then you get this race to the bottom, and then exclusion happens. And what do we say this was? 390 something? 397? Do I have a memory? 378. I do not have a memory. I like this. I like this. The idea that that there's a research war that like everyone knows this is a terrible idea, but they're racing ahead because they don't want to be like cut out from it. I say that too much. I say the exact cause is unknown. Oh god, this is a terrible pun. This is so bad. Um, okay. I think I'm just end the history there. Sometimes you stumble on a pun that you just got to do. Okay. I think Replication Crisis is just a. It's not a pun. It's a play on words. Maybe it's not a play on words. I don't know. Uh, if you squint, there's a parallel. I think in editing, I'll try to make this land better. But I think if you're the right kind of person, you find that very funny. Um, so we'll see. This is first draft. I say that a lot. That's first draft, but it is. So um, I think it can be discovered later. I'm gonna leave it vague. Um, like or I can change that line. So I'll think about that. But this is the only place that the plane of mirrors is mentioned at all. This is another case of me like I did not need to add that to the world building document, but I did because I thought it was interesting. But I might change that line or change it so that it implies that it's still functional within the exclusion, or that it's functional with the within the exclusion, which means that it's functionally cut off. Yeah, it's all still there. Okay, I'm gonna be happy with that for now. I'm gonna say it's fine. Um, Juniper's notes. Yeah, I could do the chirality thing. Let's see how long this is. I'm probably going to put it to do like that because I'll need to restructure the I would want to mention it up here and then mention it again down there. Maybe I'll do that now. I need to reread some of this. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have it to do on the chirality thing. I don't want to deal with that now, and possibly not include it. I do love chirality, but I just need to like restructure some stuff for it. Um, okay. So this is Feng Shui exclusion. This needs to be late Second Empire exclusion because this is like the only. This is the only mention of it. No, no. Okay, so there are two mentions of Shuism. I actually need to check the world building docs and didn't do that. Thankfully, this is not okay. So, Luther says this is a prototypical example of a phenomenological magic. So it's understandable, simple, understandable base principles. There's nothing about metaphor there. Raven mentions Shuisk parlors, and then this other stuff is just the name of a temple. It's not related to that. So I believe those are the two mentions of Feng Shui. That's what we're working from. But obviously, Feng Shui is its own system. So this can't be FEZ. It can't be FEEZ. It can be. Its name is Feng. Just go green. Just get this settled. First pass. And I think that was 378. The associated magic thing is not going to figure into anything, so I don't really need to worry about it. And that was the Zest says. That's a terrible name. I'll come back to that later. Okay. Can't be FEZ. FEZ is taken. FEEZ. We'll just do NGZ. It is. Major. And then the date needs to be late Second Empire because Raven mentions that they're it existing. I guess it could also be post-collapse, but I think we'll place this at like 302. And okay, so I did some reading on this. I did some reading on this last night. Feng Shui is a Chinese pseudoscience with a very long history. It was mostly about finding proper burial sites to have like the direction of qi, and depended a lot on astrology and to a lesser extent astronomy, like alignment along north-south and stuff like that. And a lot of it is about where to build buildings and stuff. It's kind of interesting because I think that with a lot of old traditional practices, you can kind of see some sense in them, but that might be the wrong framing of it. Like, there are lots of reasons that you really want to care about where you bury your dead, beyond just the like social and cultural, right? You really want to care about spread of disease and stuff like that. So I can see like maybe there was some utilitarian core of it, but it probably was just superstition, and I'm probably just projecting onto a ancient Chinese thing. Okay, so American Feng Shui, which is usually in the West, Western Feng Shui, when we talk about it, is largely interior design, and it's a bunch of pseudoscience, and so it was pseudoscience in like historical China, but not to a that much greater extent than anywhere else. In the like New Age circles, it's mostly about interior design because that's what like people can do. Most people aren't building buildings, Um, so they're doing interior design. They're making walls certain colors. They're paying attention to like south, east, and west, and most of it's like totally made up bullshit. Uh, um, Penn and Teller did an episode. They had a show called Bullshit, and they did an episode on feng shui and how it absolutely has no empirical evidence. The Wikipedia article, which I read the whole Wikipedia article last night, so I could make sure I had at least some basic understanding of the historical and cultural stuff. But Wikipedia article on this is wild because there's so much like citation needed, and you can kind of see where someone who cared a lot about feng shui and thought it was neat and interesting wanted to make a Wikipedia article, and then someone else is just like, this is like made up stuff like that has no basis in reality, like absolutely does not work. But you can see those two voices. It's probably more like a dozen voices. I didn't check the like version history or anything, but you can see a lot of that stuff in there. So the New Age feng shui is to some extent appropriation, but it's also like largely a Chinese practice. And during the Cultural Revolution, they made attempts at wiping it out. It's kind of banned in China. You're not allowed to be a feng shui consultant. You are like, government's not supposed to hire feng shui consultants. It's like 30% of people still believe in feng shui. But here are some pull quotes from Wikipedia, which I mostly am not going to use. I think there's interesting stuff in here. I like this. They use feng shui in the bedroom, where a number of techniques involving colors and arrangement achieve comfort and peaceful sleep. Citation needed. Feng shui is largely something rich people do because they have a bunch of money to blow on it, and they're like cheaper, less expensive forms of it. And I linked on Discord. There's only like 2 mentions of feng shui in it, but there's a Chuck Palahniuk short story about like corporate New Age stuff and like New Age assassins, and I don't know. It's very interesting. It's got that Chuck Palahniuk vibe to it. I used to be a huge fan of his, and then I think I was just young and I grew out of it. There's a lot of like word repetition stuff that he does that I soured on. But yeah, I've read probably 6 or 7 books of Chuck Palahniuk's, but an excerpt from that was posted on Discord, and this idea of feng shui and all the New Age stuff as being how they would look if they were actual practical magics and stuff is interesting to me. Okay, and I am using this. Geology is the Latin version of it, because a lot of Christians came to China and just like really hated feng shui, and so they like denigrated it a lot. So this is at least partly cultural appropriation, in the way that Juniper does not care about that much, and I care about a little. But we're just gonna move on. Yeah, similar to dibbling. Okay, so these are all my notes. I probably will not refer to these, but turbulent. So yeah, there's a lot to read about feng shui, and I did not read. I mean, I read the Wikipedia article and then a couple other articles. There's lots of red links on that article, and I was like, man, I could probably improve this article, but then I didn't. I used to edit Wikipedia, which probably is not that surprising, but I did not do terribly much of it, and you have to deal with people like reverting your changes because they are just dicks or whatever. Um, and you get in like lots of fights with people. Not like big fights, just like I don't know. It's a strange place. The other name for feng shui, I think it's slightly different, but they call it geomancy. Yes. Okay. Also a method of divination. But the art of placing or arranging buildings or other sites auspiciously. But so that's the Europeans understood it to be a geological, or they understood it as geomancy. This is definitely a misspelled word. Um, Um, well, so the the idea here is that proper Shuism is, yes, you are just a mathematician. And if you go read the article, the Wikipedia article on Feng Shui, like a lot of the tools that they used were just mathematical tools. You know, it was they were just trying to find where north is. They were just trying to like align a house with north. They used astrolabes. They used compasses. They here. Okay. They used different like actual scientific tools. Um, Now, feng shui doesn't do anything. It's not a real thing, but they were making star maps. They were doing actual scientific orientation of stuff. No, there's a different tool that I thought was neat. Yeah, like this, they cited the homes were cited for maximum solar gain. That's not like a that's not a pseudoscience thing. That's like a real mathematical thing. Um, so yeah, there was a tool. This I mean, yeah, a lot of this is supposed to be like pure mathematics. Um, in practice, it's pseudoscience, but in theory, it's all mathematics. I mean, sometimes you're just feeding data into this mathematical instrument and getting a result back, and then you do that result, and it doesn't have any material effect on the world, but um, the magic is just math. And as Uther says in the text, he says that this is a phenomenological magic. It is simple base principles that there's no matter of metaphor. There's no um, interpretation. There's no definitional jankery. This is just simple rules, and if you follow those rules, then you get the same result every time. Um, but we're putting in a caveat here. Oh, the boss, thank you for that spam. So we ban and delete. Great. Okay. It's my second time getting some spam. Um, During the early Second Empire, a greatest focus on and deeply exploring the nature of various magical systems. Yep, ley lines are a think, largely English counterpart, but the idea that there's energy flowing through a land is, I think, pretty common among different cultures. Possibly because it's a way of explaining phenomena that were really poorly understood by historical peoples. So you talk about energy flowing through a land because you like don't understand you're on a floodplain, or you don't you just like there's so much stuff that you don't really get. Does this relate to the contemporary pseudoscience of not having stairs facing your front door? It probably does. Like some of those, I feel like some superstitions actually come from people trying to understand things and sort of develop. It's human pattern matching, and you see a pattern and you decide, oh, that must be reality. But most of feng shui is like it's a very very like complicated and grounded and mathematical approach, and the new age stuff is like much worse interpretational stuff that's just it's like palm reading or like tarot, where it mostly is there to give people reassurance, that and make them feel like they're in control of their life and make them feel like their life has purpose and stuff like that. But a lot of superstitions are just human pattern matching, just exploded out, and then you learn it from someone, and you can kind of see the thing there. Well, so yes, astrology, but feng shui is actually like 50% astrology, from what I know. I obviously, I knew a little bit about it, read the Wikipedia article yesterday, but there's a lot of astrology that is a part of feng shui. Okay, I'm going to go get some water and rehydrate, and I will be back in 1 or 2 minutes. I will put the my Wikipedia pull quotes up so you can read those if you just like. These are the things that I found interesting in regards to making this a magic system of some kind. Ley lines are a relatively recent thing. That's interesting. Definitely did not know that. I thought that was a like older thing. Um, okay. Excuse me. Rebuilt from the ground up along empirically ground up through Uh, okay, one sec. Okay, sorry, just got some email and just waiting for this dumb train to go by. Um, did Uther know? Oh. I think that this is something Uther possibly knew about. I mean, like, let's say that you are. Let's say that you're Arthur. You know that this is the kind of thing that Juniper would do. So, but then you also know that maybe Juniper would include a magic that just plainly like you have all these magics, and then one of them is not pseudo magic, but it like just functionally doesn't work. Um, so I don't know. I kind of like the idea of this being more um, a geographically confined area or thing. I need to check my map actually. I like the idea of this being like a more not Asia, but like a more foreign thing. That was not in use all. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but that was not in use all over the world. So part of Uther's further adventures, mostly for flavor. Um, Smoke. Why did smoke magic not make it in? Uh, yeah, I don't know. Uh, so this is the smoke magic 2. Um, why didn't I? All right, I'm gonna add smoke magic. I think that's probably just oversight on my part. Here, we'll just do smoke magic. I might not do that one though. But we'll see. Yeah, that's probably just oversight on my part that smoke magic was not included. Right? Like, or it might just be a silent exclusion, and then I wouldn't have to do it. Yeah, there's an explanation. I mean, like, alteration of perception, pushing perception to become reality. That's not. I'm just gonna grab that and add it to the doc. Add that to the doc. There. But we'll see. I really don't. I really don't like adding another one to do here. I did say I might axe some of these. Some of these that I'm not sure are interesting or good. I don't think here. I gotta check if necronatalism. Okay. I think that the manipulation of the energies just no longer works, but that's TBD. Let's say misunderstanding. I do need that to do in there. Features. Just get rid of all this. It could be sabotage, yeah. Misunderstanding, incompetence. Um, Of course, if we're going to do it this way, then we need to make sure that it is either not exploitable or with terrible side effects or something else. Yeah, just taking some time to think on this one. Is Lynchy. Okay, just give him the moral species. I just need the spelling of this. The Lency. And Ocald was a Bellad, yeah. Oh, which is not on here? Lame. Okay. Why are they not in the dock? I hope someone gets fired for that blunder. Um, Well, those are two that are mentioned. I don't want to make up a new species, is most of it. But if you have others that are in the doc that can be pointed to, I can for sure include them. I don't want to include I don't want to include a new species. I mean dragons, yeah. I probably will not include dragons. Um, like there's already a bunch of species that just like don't appear in Worth the Candle at all. But we're gonna include these two because they're in Worth the Candle and they're in the world building doc, and I just like in theory there would be more. I'm just not gonna go there right now anyway. Um, what else do we want there? Their numbers have grown large enough. Yeah, and we will do the energy outside thing here. Shutting down the movement of energy within the, what do we call this, the NG? Um, okay, I'm going to be done with this one for now. I am reaching the end of my writing time, or as long as I can write without a break. Chirality, I'm not sure I'm doing, but we'll leave that to do for when I come back and we see if we need anything. Control-Shift-C, that's 1,863 words. That's close to 1,000 words an hour, which I will always be happy with. I'm actually happy with like 500 an hour. It's my like par, and anything I get above that is just gravy. Am I happy with that Shweism overall? Maybe. I think the like death thing could use some work. Other than that, I'm fine. The mirror thing I like. So we'll give those maybe not an A plus, but oop, that one's done. Shweism is 302. We'll label that one first pass. Okay. For next time, we are running out of stuff. I guess Xnalo is going to be. And there's no stream tomorrow. Oh shoot! Right, I reversed my colors. There, those are green because they are done. Green for done makes a lot more sense than red for done and green for to do. Xnilo is going to be Nihilo, whatever. And then Contra Ethereal. Those will be the two for next time. I probably won't do two on Friday. Uh, am I almost done? Am I almost done? I'm trying to cruise to the end. There's just a lot, and then I think I might take a little bit of a break before I do all the editing. So because I added one today, so 16 left. 16 left, and I might axe 4 of them, which would mean 12 left. Right, I'm going to have to redo Astral Duplication because of how I did Mirror Magic. I'm going to have to think about what Astral is. I might actually reread... Okay, I'm going to take a moment to do this now. To read the Manual of Planes. Because the Astral Plane... Wait, Astral Plane is not listed. The Astral Plane... There's no Astral Plane. There's an Ethereal... Astral. Just... Oh, right. This is the only mention. The Astral Explosion. Okay. So I'm going to read this, and I'll do it on stream, because why not? So, D&D has these transitive planes. That's what they call them. I call them congruent planes. Page 47. A lot of the cosmology in Worth the Candle is just this stuff, this like 3rd edition or whatever. D&D just taken up a lot. Transitive planes. Well, this is the astral, and we don't really have the astral plane. We have the ethereal plane, but the astral... Oh, no, technically there is an astral plane. If you take this as literal, then yes, Worth the Candle has a space between planes. I do like how these are written. Also, I do own this book. I'm reading the PDF. I do own the book. I'm not above pirating splat books for D&D, especially because there's no way to like buy them from the actual publisher anymore. But I do want to point out that I am showing this on stream, but I do own this book. It's just downstairs somewhere, and this is like 1,000 times more convenient. All spells and spell-like abilities may be employed as if they used Quicken Spell. Okay, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I might do this like space between things. I'm going to think about this tomorrow. Tomorrow no stream, so I'll have 2 days to think about this before I have to actually write it, and maybe 3 if I only do one of these on Friday. I should clarify that it's possible I'm going to stream tomorrow, but it would be not a exclusions document stream. It would be an AI art stream. I told my sister, who's a painter, that I would take her through some AI art stuff and like show her how it works and talk about it with her some, because she's a little interested. But if she is okay with streaming that, we might, and then I would just close like the Twitch studio, and we would just be talking with each other, and I'd have Dream Studio, Midjourney, and Dolly up on screen to look at while we're talking about art stuff and what AI art does and how it works and how to get results from it and a bunch of other stuff, which I don't know if would be interesting, but it would be good to have a copy of that conversation on a VOD or whatever. So I will ask her about that. Assume there's no stream tomorrow. If there is, it'll be 1 p.m. Central Time, which is like -5 or -6 UTC, I think. I don't quote me on that. Anyway, these are for Friday. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I will see you again later.